Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucs, powered by Chris Gates Fitness. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, what's going on, my man?
Good morning. No happy Monday today, Donardo?
You know what? I just knew your Monday was happy. I didn't have to ask.
Yeah. Well, happy Monday. Back
Happy
at you.
Monday. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's kind of a weird weekend. And I say that because, well, the Pirates have dropped one of three so far, but the series isn't over. The series is still continuing. This is the first time where we're not done with the series to talk about. The Pirates play again today at 12:30, 12:35, whatever it is, to finish up against the Mets. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, usually we're kind of like recapping a series and previewing a new one, but yeah, we got another game this afternoon. See if we can at least split things with the Mets here. Um, yeah, they need a win today. This team is desperate for a win. Um, a 2-5 homestand would be bad.
Yeah, this
It would
isn't
be it
this
would
is
be bad at this juncture.
isn't quite what we discussed last Starbucks. What needed to be done, Jim.
No, this is the opposite.
So
This is what we talked about. We needed to avoid. We needed to
right,
avoid 2-5, 3-4. You can at least live with. Like you still fight. You live to fight another day at 3-4, but 2-5. It's not looking good. It's a bad week.
it's a very bad week. A very, very bad week. Yeah, like as it stands right now, the Pirates are 4.5 games out of the wild card. San Fran above them, which San Fran, albeit again, you can discuss the quality of the trade, but they've already made a trade with the Reds for giving up an outfielder for a reliever. The Mets, Arizona, San Diego, St. Louis, Atlanta, of course, all above the Pirates. And yeah, like again, we discussed it, just getting tougher and tougher. I mean, there are 3 games under 500, right? There are a few games for the wild card, and they got to start stacking wins. We keep talking about stacking wins, and going 2-5 is the opposite of that. And you keep digging this hole. I don't want to be very premature, but again, that's what it alludes to. You keep digging this hole, and you turn from sellers. I'm sorry, you turn from buyers to sellers. And that's literally where we're at right now. You keep doing this, and the talk and discussion of, what are we going to buy turns quite into, all right, well, this team just ain't it. Who are we selling? What are we giving up?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time left for them to start playing like they should be buyers. Because that's what that's what these weeks are about. Was like, okay, like, should we go out there and add to this team or not? And really, they just, again, we talked about just kind of treading water. If you tread water, then you can say to yourself, all right, we can add to this team. They're still treading water right now, but they're getting tired. Their arms are getting tired. They're starting to their heads bobbing up and down.
Say they have the straw out their mouth. That's, as
Yeah,
they
it's
sink, they're still trying to catch some air.
choppy waters right now. They're keeping their head above water technically, but yeah, they could sink. They could sink here any second.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, BetOnline is your number one source for all sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right up to all fights in the UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, of course, that's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online, the game starts here. Yeah, man. It's again, all that stuff we talked about is very valid. And then on top of it, right? On top of all of that, Jim, the Pirates are without Jared Jones and Billy Falter for the foreseeable future. So yeah, that's just kind of icing on the cake. Like, oh, if things aren't bad enough, well, remember that four-headed monster you're kind of talking about? Well, two of them are gone.
Yeah, this is where like depth is important. This time of the season, it's usually the deeper teams that separate themselves, not necessarily the best ones on paper to start the year. So yeah, we're gonna see how deep the Pirates can be. They do have two starting pitchers who are getting pretty close to coming off of the IL. So if there was a time for Marco Gonzalez and Quinn Priester to be ready, now is a good time for that to be. The All-Star break's coming up here soon, which we'll talk about that here shortly. That is gonna be welcomed with open arms, definitely. Like giving some days off to some people. But yeah, we'll see how they can handle it. Right now, Jones being out probably at least a month, though, not great.
Right.
Same with Falter.
No, for sure. That's a huge blow. But let's give some guys some props because with with injuries comes opportunities. And someone who we've talked about, but he's kind of been like an unheralded hero, and I guess you talked a little more about him yesterday on the post game. Is Luis Ortiz? Like what the role he's been doing, and now like yesterday's start, it seems as if he's probably gonna be thrusted into this rotation, due to the injuries and such. Luis Ortiz has been damn good. And, especially like where he started from spring training, is he going to be in the rotation? Is he not? Like him and Roansy were kind of the same group. Like, what are these guys? What are they going to be in the future? He's kind of got that like long man role in the bullpen, which he's excelled at, right? He was huge in that role. Turned into like the bulk role, now becoming like an actual starter. The guy's got a 2.95 ERA on the year in 61 innings pitched. And again, like yesterday, a huge game. Now, unfortunately, they weren't able to win it. That's the story of the Pirates. Thank you, offense. Thank you, bullpen. But like Luis Ortiz just shut down the Mets, and he's been doing a fantastic job. So it's like in losing Bailey Falter, especially, but now, Jared Jones, I kind of feel comfortable with Luis Ortiz filling in the gap there.
Yeah, he's been outstanding this year. So you do feel pretty good what you've seen out of him. You feel good about him coming in and okay, we need somebody to make a handful of starts now. I feel comfortable giving Luis Ortiz a handful of starts at this point. He's
Very
shown
much.
that he's been extremely capable in the long relief role. And he's started a few games now already, and they've all been pretty good. So yeah, he's been great. 1.7 WAR on the season for Luis Ortiz on Baseball Reference. He's been the fifth most valuable Pirate this season. That's how important he's been to this team. Just kind of carving up a few different types of roles early on in that bullpen. Won some games for the Pirates in extra innings early on, if you remember those. And then,
Yep.
yeah, being able to hop into the rotation here and eat up a lot of innings that need to be eaten and doing it really, really effectively. Yeah, it's been a really, really good year for him because last year you could see the upside with him, but it was just the consistency, it was not there at all. And this year you're seeing a lot more consistency out of him. Like he's pitching quality innings every time out there now.
So I want to bring this up here. Since he's been, you can't really say like in the starting role. It's still been kind of awkward, but like in this bulk role, not coming in as more or less the guy that, the starter went 3 innings and you got to get to the sixth or seventh inning, right? But he's been like dubbed into the bulk role. So since June 8th, he's had a 2.96 ERA, 27.1 innings. This is the big thing, and this is why we're talking so highly about Luis Ortiz. In those 27.1 innings, 25 strikeouts, two, two walks, two walks. Luis Ortiz, right? You talked about consistency. Like that was Luis Ortiz. He just we were infatuated with his fastball when he came up, right? Hitting 100 just with ease. And like last year, was like, where'd this fastball go? And on top, he just can't find the zone. He has been every bit a good, solid pitcher. The 2 walks, though, is what really stands out. Um, and like in those this bulk role, right? 6 appearances. In those 6, he had 1 blow up against Tampa Bay, where he had 4 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. Outside of that, 1 earned run or less in every other appearance. This guy has just been every bit of good. And I'm excited again for Luis Ortiz. You know, we're again like he was in the Rowansy situation where it's like, well, I don't really believe in him. If one of those can just be a 5th starter, hopefully, just to give some innings. And now I'm back on the, you know what? I'm excited about Luis Ortiz. And you already have this depth of this rotation that you're excited for in like the future. Now he's just part of this, like this part of this pitching factory again.
Yeah, I mean he's done a really good job this year. Can't really say enough. He's trusting his stuff more. He's attacking hitters. A lot could be said with like why he was a failed starter last year. I think a lot of it just had to do with not knowing what it took to be a major league pitcher. I mean, I think that was a lot of it. Like he didn't do the things that a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball needed to do if he wanted to be successful. And that's from like a mental aspect, preparation, game prep. He, by all accounts, he was a big fan of scouting reports and just knowing who his opponent was and sticking to him. And so putting him in the bullpen where maybe he doesn't have to deal with that as much. You're just facing a lineup one time through. You don't need to see guys 2-3 times. It got him some confidence. It got him in a good headspace. And then now when they need to call upon him to make these starts, he's ready for him now. So yeah, he's done an outstanding job really all season long.
Yes, agree. Before we move over to the real star of the show today, anything else that you want to talk about with this, rotation as a whole?
Yeah, I mean they're going to need to, with Falter on the IL now, Jones on the IL now. You're pretty much running. You're running Ortiz in there with, Keller, Skenes, Perez. They are going to need to figure out something for that 5th spot for probably at least 2 weeks, right? Until Falter can come back, as long as he's not out that long. So yeah, you really need Priester or you need Gonzalez to step up. Braxton Ashcraft did get activated off of the IL in AAA, so he's also sitting out there. And so we've talked with Murphy a few times, and Murphy doesn't think Ashcraft should throw another inning in AAA, right? And this could be a good time to get him some innings while these guys are down, because Ashcraft himself is going to be on an innings restriction. So maybe you use this as an opportunity to say, all right, Braxton Ashcraft, come on up, give us a few starts for about a month, see how things go. Maybe he gets relegated to the bullpen to save some innings down the stretch. But yeah, I'm kind of in that boat where with Pitt City, what here? Like I think this is a good time to maybe see what Braxton Ashcraft has in him.
I'm with you there. We've had our debates with Anthony. I've been, of course, on more of the bullpen side just to keep him up here for the rest of the year, and also so he doesn't have to see another AAA inning. But he's been all for he's a starter. He's a starter, and right now is a great opportunity to show that. And I'm with it. If he comes up here to make the a start in in like that 5th starter role, you talking about that we need. I'm for it. I'm for it right now. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do, but I'm for the Braxton Ashcraft.
Yeah, I could see them trying to maybe squeeze a couple of Marco Gonzalez starts in before the trade deadline too, and seeing if they can maybe flip him for something. Anybody?
Yeah.
That could also be a possibility,
Yeah, maybe.
especially
He
if
only
this
made one
team is
rehab so far, so
yeah, especially if this team's in the direction where they seem to be heading.
right. All right. Well, then let's move that over. Let's talk about some more positive news. It was announced yesterday the All-Stars. Brian Reynolds gets selected. Well deserved. Well deserved. We've put out his numbers. I mean, a 131 weighted runs created plus, 16 home runs, 54 RBI. The guy is on a 25 game hit streak. I mean, he's just absolutely turned it up since June 1st. I'm not sure what it was yesterday. I guess I didn't update to look, but before yesterday's game, second most hits in baseball between June 1st and July 5th, behind only between the 6th, I guess, behind only Gunnar Henderson. It's been outstanding. But the bigger news, Paul Skenes also gets selected. Just 10 major league starts in his entire career, right? But for this year, just 10 starts, and Paul Skenes is an MLB All-Star. A year ago, we were talking Paul Skenes or Dylan Cruz. And here we are a year later talking about Paul Skenes, the 2024 All-Star. What a feat.
It's another thing that Paul Skenes has done that has never happened in the history of Major League Baseball. At no point ever in the game's history has someone been drafted and then made the All-Star team the immediate year after. And he just did it. Like it's pretty incredible because like literally when we're talking about this, he was named to the All-Star team yesterday. A year ago, he was not a professional baseball player. Like
Right.
he was waiting. We weren't sure. We thought he was probably going to be the first pick, but it wasn't a foregone conclusion at this point in time. 12 months ago, he was going to be the number one overall pick. We had a good idea, but there were other players in the mix. Wyatt Langford was in the mix. Dylan Cruz was in the mix. Max Clark was in the mix. Like there were all these other guys in the mix, and they picked the right one. They absolutely picked the right guy. Robert down there in Baton Rouge, he definitely told us, let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a first season, what a first year of professional baseball for him. He got drafted, got his toes wet last year in the minors a little bit, but hardly pitched at all. And then the way the Pirates just kind of eased him into the season, brought him up, and man, just as soon as he got called up, we've talked about his numbers at length. He's legitimately, if he's not the best pitcher in baseball since he's been called up, he's top 3, like every bit of it. Um, and yeah, what a well-deserved All-Star game nod. Uh, they haven't named a starter yet, but I could see them sending out Paul Skenes to start the All-Star game. Imagine just, All-Star game starts, vibes are high, and then you've got, him lining up against the top of that American League lineup. You've got Aaron Judge versus Paul Skenes to close out a first inning. Like that's what the All-Star game is about, is stuff like that. So I think they're gonna get this one right, and I think we'll see Paul Skenes start an All-Star game. Like he should absolutely be doing it. And you're gonna see some people say maybe, oh, so and so got snubbed, but since his call up, he's been every bit as good as anyone else in the league.
100%. I look at this as it's Paul Skenes. We're witnessing it firsthand as Pirate fans and being able to watch every game, but like it's national attention every time Paul Skenes starts. This isn't just hey, this is a good prospect. Oh, this is a good baseball player. This is a face of baseball. He's made 10 starts. He's a face of baseball right now. And you talk about like, is there a guy that's, is he the best pitcher out there? I mean, since he's come up, I just want to throw these numbers here just a little bit, right? But since he has debuted, as far as WAR goes, he's the 10th highest pitcher in baseball. Third most though in the NL. Only Christopher Sanchez, who has a 2 WAR, and Logan Webb, who has a 1.8 WAR, has more than Paul Skenes at 1.7. We look at ERAs though. Paul Skenes at 2.12 ERA. Logan Webb 2.86. Chris Sanchez 2.80. I mean, he's been absolutely just dominant, just flat out dominant. He doesn't have the innings as they do as well. It's slightly more because he's been like restricted a little bit here. The 12 like the Ks per 9, like only one better than him is Garrett Crochet. Like we talk about him like he's trade piece for the White Sox and like what he's going to net here. He's just been flat out dominant. So not only talk about a potential face of baseball, but if you are an NL manager, who's the guy you want starting the game? And like that's why like let's talk about him being an all-star selection. Like part of my mind is like this hasn't been done. So like Paul Skenes shouldn't be an all-star. That's just not the way it is. Like he shouldn't be an all-star. It's only been 10 starts. Earn it, kid. But the same sense, it's like if I'm an NL manager and I'm running the NL All-Star team and I'm trying to win a game, do I not want Paul Skenes? Like there's your argument why he needs to be an all-star. I'm trying to win this game. I'm absolutely calling up Paul Skenes to be on my team. And with that being said, if I am the NL manager, am I not starting Paul Skenes? What would you do? This is your team, Jim.
Yeah. Who else is better to set the tone in an all-star game than Paul Skenes? Like he's the dude. He's the guy that I'm riding with. I've said it many times. Best pitcher I've ever seen. So yeah, if I need a guy to start a game, it's him. It's him. He is him.
He is him.
Like I mean, he's just been outstanding.
It's just amazing. It's just really, really amazing what he's been doing. I don't know, man. I'm for it. Paul Skenes start the All-Star. And you talk about another thing that's just never been done. I mean, like he's doing stuff that hasn't been done, and we're talking about him starting the All-Star game. Less than a year after being drafted from LSU.
Yeah.
The guy is just flat out dominant. Flat out dominant. And I want to go a little bit back to that draft. Man, I mean, we've been talking Dylan Crews. And again, a year ago, it was still the question, like, is it Dylan Crews or is it Paul Skenes? Dylan Crews gets you, I think like pretty much like where we nailed it at this point. Dylan Crews gets you to the playoffs. Paul Skenes will win you the playoffs. And he is every bit of that. This guy is just like if they would have picked anyone else, I'd be crying right now. Like, could you imagine Dylan Crews is having a very good year in Double A?
Yeah,
I mean, he's still a top 5 prospect in baseball.
Nothing wrong with what Dylan Crews is doing right now in the minors. But
could you imagine though Dylan Crews in Altoona right now and watching Paul Skenes do what he's doing in DC?
Yeah, that would be upsetting. Again, it wouldn't be like I don't know. I don't know how mad I would be. I think it would be one of those situations where I would definitely be like, that would be nice to have. But I think as long as Dylan Crews isn't like if Dylan Crews is who we think he is, I think I could maybe live with the decision. But I'm happy that I don't have to think about that situation other than just hypothetically in my head, to be honest. Because yeah, I am very happy having Paul Skenes on this team, and I'm glad that he was the pick.
Yeah, man. This is just exceptional. I feel like every time there's a Paul Skenes starter, we talk about Paul Skenes. It's like we could just talk about him for an hour, and that's how I feel now. And we probably shouldn't, but that is how I feel. Yeah, man. I just don't know what to say. It's only been 10 starts. and he looks so good. And it's not that I'm trying to jinx anything and talk anything, but like rookie of the year, we talked how difficult that competition is going to be this year, right? It's because we're talking more like Jared Jones, how good he was pitching, and if he's going to keep pitching good, like you got to keep him up here because he's going to be involved in the rookie of the year competition. And like Paul Skenes came up here and just basically said, "This is mine." What are you guys talking about? I'm in the All-Star game. None of these other rookies can talk about that. They're not in the All-Star game. Paul Skenes is. He's already almost at 2 WAR.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, he's over 2 WAR if you look at Baseball Reference, so it just kind of depends on what you're looking at.
Sure.
But also like that splinker that he started throwing. This was a pitch that he didn't throw until this season, and all of a sudden, after his last start, it officially became the most valuable split finger pitch in Major League Baseball. The dude's only had 10 starts, right? And there's some guys out there who can throw splitters, and he just was like one day, I'm gonna just try this thing, and 10 starts later, it's the greatest pitch in baseball. That's just how talented he is. That being able to just add that to his repertoire has put him in a different category. Because again, that wasn't a pitch that we had really seen up until this season. So going into the year, we were like, all right, he's a fastball, slider, changeup kind of guy, and now he's got this magical pitch that he just invented out of the blue, and it's so good that it's shown us in all of these games that he started that he can. It's almost like his rescue iron. If you're a golfer
Yeah.
out there, right? Like you go out there and maybe you have a bad tee shot. It's like, all right, what's the club you're going to come out to kind of recover from that? You bring out your hybrid or whatever. Like that's his hybrid. Like if something isn't completely on, he can always kind of rely on that pitch to just settle things down and like reset and say, okay, maybe the original game plan wasn't going to work today, but we can shift to something else. And that pitch sort of like allows him to do it because no one can hit it. No one can hit it.
Right. Mm-mm.
It's that good that like he can just go, okay, this is my safety net. If I need to go to this in any situation, I can. And having a pitch like that where it's just always working for you and nobody can hit it is just so good to have.
I mean, just to kind of reiterate what you said here, for the first month and a half, he was in the minor leagues. Guys were pitching, building their value of their pitches, right? So when you talk about Reynaldo Lopez has the best pitch in baseball in his four-seam fastball because it's valued at 15 runs. That started at the end of March. In comes Paul Skenes mid-May, and his splinker is the ninth best pitch in baseball, valued at 12 runs, just 3 behind that four-seamer by Reynaldo Lopez. Like, had he been here from day one, that's what we're alluding to. Like, it's probably the best pitch in baseball, which is why it is the best pitch in baseball. Doesn't have the total value there yet because it's only been 10 starts. And he just made this offseason. Jim, how's that fastball shape looking, buddy? Is
Yeah.
Paul Skenes a bust yet?
Yeah. How silly do those people look? Like anybody who was talking about, he's not gonna do well up in the majors because of his fastball shape. If that was something that came out of your mouth at any point in time, you're just you look silly. You look
silly.
You look
A
dumb.
nice word.
So like, and we'll get into it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his fastball shape is because it's so hard. It comes in so hard, right? But then he's got these other pitches to work off of it. That it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the shape is. Could have the worst fastball shape in the world. Don't matter.
2024 Major League All-Star. Love it. All right, man. We should probably wrap this up and move on to our next segment.
Let's do it. Before we do that, though, this show, this week and every week, it's sponsored by Chris Gates Fitness. Chris is an online fitness coach from Pittsburgh, huge Pittsburgh sports fan, and friend of the show. Chris works with people all over town and all over the world to chase their fitness goals, whether it be to lose body fat, build muscle, or do both while improving your overall health and wellness. Chris helps people find a sustainable approach with diet and exercise to make progress that sticks. He works with me. I did a rowing workout yesterday. I'm still kind of feeling the effects of that, but yeah, he shares a ton of his information for free on his social media accounts every single day. If you're looking for tips, tricks, and strategies to use with your diet and exercise, make sure you give him a follow. Just search for Chris Gates Fitness on literally any social media platform out there, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Threads, whatever it is, you'll find him there. And yeah, stay tuned. We are about 2 weeks away from a really big announcement from him, July 22nd. He's dropping something big. So make sure you're following him so that you can see what he's got going on here soon.
Every Monday, I hate this. I hate this ad read, Jim. Just reminds me how much I don't know. This July 22nd has been killing me.
I do need to fill you in, I guess. I'll do that off air though.
Oh, what?
Also, I can start feeding you a little bit of details.
Take that, Chris. I'm about to know. I can't wait. Oh my God. It honestly has been killing me. This has been going on for like a month now, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's that. So yeah. I'm about to find out. Let's end the show. Let's do it now. No, let's not. Let's go ahead and bring on Anthony. Anthony from Bucs On Deck. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? Another fantastic morning here.
Very fantastic.
Yeah,
100%.
Very fantastic. Love having you on right before the draft, right after some latest prospect updates get put out there. I feel like it's a good week again.
Yeah, it's a good week, especially for a certain affiliate. There's a certain affiliate that's kind of on fire right now. A lot of good players right now, especially notable after they lost their best player in the first half. So
let's talk. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, we can talk about the fun stuff, or we can talk about the stuff that's going to make Jim roll his eyes here.
Hey,
that is the fun stuff. Oh, let's start there.
Okay. Well, I would say Greensboro's on fire right now. They've won 9 of the last 10. They've already built like a 4-game lead in the South Atlantic League for the second half. In 15 games, they have a plus 59 run differential right now. So they're just destroying everyone right now. We'll go with the hitters because it's two guys from Greensboro lighting up. Tamar Johnson had a really good week this past week. 10 hits, 2 home runs, a double, walked 7 times, struck out 6 times. But I mean, you're walking that much, and he pieces it. I kind of just feel like strikeouts are just going to be part of his game at this point. But like, if you can get weeks like this, you'll take him every time. And if he's walking the amount of times that he's walking, like you can live with it pretty well. And he stole a couple bases too. So just all around a very, very solid week from him. One of the better that I've seen from him this season.
Yeah, and power was all there. The strikeouts weren't out of hand either. He was still, sub 20%. 2 homers, 7 walks. I think as long as he's still walking, like you said, if he's still walking that much and hitting for power, you can live with the strikeout numbers there. But yeah, another really good week for him. He's been looking a lot better lately. He got taken off of Baseball America's top 100 list in the latest update. So, there was that, and he responded to that news with a really big week.
Yeah.
So,
and I took it personally.
Yeah,
basically. Right. Yeah,
basically.
you look at the numbers right now, just kind of as a season for a 20-year-old, and like you're pretty pleased with where he's sitting.
Yeah, no,
right
I'll
now.
take that.
Yeah.
I'll take it every day of the week. I mean, there's still some like there'll be a lot of games to where it's like one of the games, like he went up and he swung at a couple of like really bad pitches in the first in his first at bat, and you're kind of just like, looks like it's gonna be one of those days, and then he slapped a baseball the other way the next time up, and he made some pretty good contact the next time, and I think that was the game he hit one of the home runs, and it just kept getting better and better the more times he came up to the plate, and it's like, okay, well, looking at it from a singular game, that's kind of exactly what you want to see. Okay, he went up there, failed pretty badly, adjusted, and made the proper adjustments you want to kind of see. I've always felt like the whole top 100 things, like a whole long conversation kind of thing that you can drag out. I can see why they did it, and to me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, he's a second base hit only guy. He's going to have to hit to kind of move up the ladder. So those guys they have the tendency to kind of have those kind of drops and stuff, especially if they're not hitting, especially if he's not making like solid contact, like it feels like he was struggling to make. But it does feel like he's slowly been making more consistent contact. So like now it's just kind of like, okay, now he's finally starting to square everything up, and now we're starting to see the power come out a lot more from him. So
yeah, last 10 games, 17 hits.
Mm-hmm.
Over 200 weighted runs created plus last 10 games. Now, albeit just 10 games, right? But like, I feel like there's a lot of comparisons. It's not that they're the same type of player, but just comparisons like coming out into the draft that the hit tool was excellent. And they came into the Pirates system and that hit tool just kind of disappeared. But like Nick Gonzalez, we had a lot of the same conversations about like, where's this hit tool coming? Where's it at? And then I felt with Nick Gonzalez every year is always the same thing. It was like, at the end of April, early May, you're kind of questioning like, oh, maybe Nick Gonzalez ain't that guy. And then about this time of the year, you're saying, oh, okay, he's back. And I feel like Tamar's kind of done it. Like he starts off the year kind of slow, and then it all starts coming together a little bit. Is that how you're kind of feeling this? Like, is this maybe just like, I mean, because Nick Gonzalez is up now and he's performing, and it's like, okay, maybe Nick Gonzalez ain't this bad player as we all thought he was. I mean, is this kind of like the Nick Gonzalez high school version?
I think what this says, I mean, it's fairly close with that, but what it also tells you is that grading hit tools out of high school hitters is probably very useless. And
okay,
because you don't know. I mean, the level of competition, you never know what they're playing against, and you never know how. I mean, you almost rarely know how college hitters are going to react once they hit pro ball, let alone prep players. So great. He was given kind of the short end of the stick there by the comparisons that he was getting. So like we got to remember that he's still a high school kid, still going to take some time to adjust. They fast tracked him pretty quickly. I mean, he was still 18, 19 when I think he had just turned barely 19 when they moved him up to high A the first time. And so like they've been fast tracking him pretty quickly. And yeah, I mean, the contact rates are starting to slowly tread up, and the chase rates have always been really good. It's just a matter of finding the contact inside the zone, and that's what he's doing right now. So
good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Who else
Give
in Greensboro?
Give it to him, Murphy.
Give it to him.
Next guy.
Greensboro middle infielders having quite the week because Mitch Jebb followed it up, hit another 2 home runs.
Bye, Jim.
Bye. Hit another 2 home runs, had a triple, 8 walks to 4 strikeouts, scored 9 runs, 8 stolen bases. Like every time he got on base, he was just gone. I think he had like one game where he had like 2 or 3 stolen bases in the game. I think I mentioned it in your guys' Discord earlier. It's hard overall to maybe get too excited about him because of the power, but like he's a fun player to watch whenever like he's putting the ball in play, because like he'll slap a baseball the other way and hustle his way for a double if like the outfielder kind of takes his time to get there. Even if he's stuck at, even if it's just a single, like you can almost guarantee he'll find his way to second with a stolen base. Like he's a fun player to watch when he's making contact, and he's been making better contact this last month or so.
I think the thing that stands out to me, you mentioned him just kind of being a fun player to watch. You know, the stolen base numbers are great. 24 stolen bases out of 27 attempts. You know, he's walking quite a bit right now. The runs scored. I mean, 68 games played and 50 runs scored, and he is racking up the runs scored here in the last couple of weeks. I think just since, you know, if I'm looking at these numbers here, right? So since June 21st is kind of when this like hot streak started for him. Since June 21st, he scored 23 runs in 13 games. He scored multiple runs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in 13 games. So yeah, like he's getting on base, and when he gets on base, he gets around the bases.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
12 steals too during that time frame. So like yeah.
He gets on first. You just know he's going for second, and he hasn't really been stopped. Like the league has to know it at this point, and there's not much you can do about it. So
right. Yeah. Like again, it's small sample, right? But since that time frame, it's 13 games. But like in 13 games, he has 17 hits and 18 walks.
Yes.
Like this guy's getting on base, and right, like you discussed, like the power. Like, you know, is the power going to be there? Probably not. But it's like manufactured power. I mean, he turns a single into a double, so he doesn't have to hit for a double. He just gets to second base. Just amazing. Yeah, like I said, just amazing. And the fact that Jim hates him, and I'm putting words
I never
in your
said
mouth.
I
You
hate him.
No. I'm
I don't
putting the words in your
hate
mouth.
Mitch
You hate
Jeb.
him. You hate.
I think it's the profile's a rough one to get behind at times, because it's like, so like you see like Steven Kwan and Luis Arraez, they're doing like really good with like the low exit velocity, but they're like at the top, and you don't see that often, and even like their top end probably won't last that long because of that. And but then like I started also looking at some other like I did a video breakdown for Jeb last week on the site, and you look at some of the other guys, you know, like Adam Frazier was a guy who never hit the ball too hard. Like there are a lot of guys that do it, that they find a nice little like bench utility role for like a couple year span kind of thing. So like he's not a guy that if he makes it all the way up, it's probably going to have a long impact, but he can probably have some sort of impact with that kind of profile for like a very small window of time kind of thing. So
yeah.
Can that window of time be now?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Like, I don't dislike Mitch Jeb personally. I do not like.
You hated the pick. I'll be fair.
I still hate the pick. I think it's still a terrible pick. And I just don't have a lot of faith in people who can't hit for power and look like they're a left-handed version of like Hunter Pence up there with a weird stance. Just trying to stop the ball. Yeah, it's just
cleaned it up a little bit since last year. He's made some changes to it. It's not like overly big. It's still not like
just doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, like but he's cleaned it a lot more since like last year and like early season. Stances in his open, like he used to carry like his hands like right there at his chest. He has them up a little bit more, better position to kind of get through the zone a lot quicker. But yeah, it's still not the most most appealing looking.
Yeah, like usually lefties have like sweet looking swings. You like the way they look. You know, when they connect, it's like, all right, that's a pretty swing. And you don't see a pretty swing out of Mitch Jeb.
Yeah. But it works. Right
in
now.
high A.
It works.
Right
Sort
now.
of. It sort of works in high A. All right. What else we got? Let's shift to pitchers. Who had big weeks last week?
Well, I was talking to Jim during the week, and I kind of mentioned that like I would hate to bring this guy up again because it'd probably make like this would be like 3 weeks in a row now.
I think it's 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you are whenever you pitch almost 8 full innings and you face the minimum because you were able to get a couple double plays, I think it's worth mentioning that that Bubba Chandler had another incredible night. He didn't reach double digit strikeouts again. He struck out 7 in 7 2/3, but only gave up 2 hits and didn't walk anybody again. And I think he finished like just short of 100 pitches right there, and so that's probably like 3 straight starts now that he's gone right near 100, which is 21 at Double A, a really good sign there. So
he's just been so good lately.
Yeah,
85, 98, 97. Last 3 starts, total pitches.
In his last 5 starts, he's 4-1 with a 1.91 ERA, 42 strikeouts, and 3 walks in 33 innings. Like he's just dominating these hitters right now. And this is now 3 weeks in a row where he's put up a really, really impressive start. And the fact that he was able to go into the 8th inning this past week and show the command that he has. I don't really know how Fangraphs does their, how Fangraphs has like the prospect power rankings and stuff, but Bubba Chandler is right now the ranked first over the last 21 days in minor league power ranking. So like he's been the best pitcher in the minor leagues over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's rare that you see like double digit strikeouts in the minors just because most of them have such like a strict pitch count and stuff like that. So for him to not only have 2, but to have 2 back to back like that just kind of shows how, and then also to go as deep into games as he's shown at his age, at the level that he's at. It's just insane. And we all knew that like it was in there. Like he's shown flashes ever since he made his debut in Bradenton. Like okay, well you can see it. You just kind of got to put it all together. And I don't know. I mean, it's a month stretch and all that stuff, and we'll see like if he can close out the season at this high level. But like, man, it's must watch TV at this point now for him because it's just so electric. Fastball into the 8th inning. Like his last pitch was a 97 mile an hour fastball that he blew past the hitter up in the zone. So the velocity is still staying up deep into games. The breaking balls look so much better than it had previously. The changeup, I still feel the changeup hasn't even been great during this stretch, but it's still like easily his second best pitch.
Right.
So, I mean, and you think about it, like if it gets to a point where he has all 3 of his pitches clicking, like that's even more that you may be able to see out of him at that point.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, so he was a 2021 draft pick. So had he gone to college, right? Had he gone to Clemson like he intended, he would be draft eligible this year, right? Yeah. I'm curious, where would you have Bubba Chandler? I mean, you've been paying attention to the draft and stuff, but if Bubba Chandler's development had occurred exactly the way it has right now, but at Clemson, where would Bubba Chandler be with Hagen Smith, Chase Burns, Trey Savage? Like, would his name would 100% be like named with those guys? I would think.
Yeah, definitely. That's an interesting too because you have to think about it too. If he went to college, Like he was going to college to be a two-way player and to
Yeah.
play quarterback at Clemson. So there's a chance that he still had like because like the jump that he's made is because he's focused solely on pitching.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to wonder like if is he even at this level right now if he had gone to college because he's probably like there's a case like he probably he probably goes to Clemson, does the football thing for a year, maybe drops it after the first or second year. Like there's a lot of you see a lot of players that are doing the two-way. They usually drop it like heading into their draft year so they can focus solely on it. So this year, if he's at Clemson, this is probably the first year that he's focusing on baseball alone. Let alone like he's probably still a two-way guy at this point.
Right.
So like on arm upside and everything like that, yeah, he would absolutely be up there with the top guys. Like with the way he's pitching right now, like he's shown like there's an argument to be made that like since Paul Skenes isn't in the minors, like Bubba Chandler might have the best fastball in all of minor league baseball right now. Like from like a velocity standpoint, like the pitch shape and the break, the movement and all that stuff, like it's very easy.
And you've been talking about that since the offseason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The shape, it's incredible. Like the movement that he gets on it. Like I was listening to a podcast and they said that like they've watched a couple games like behind home plate on him, and you can actually hear it like whistle and the spin on it whenever he throws it, and like it's on point. Like it's the fastball is on a whole nother level. Yeah, but like he's probably right there in the mix with Chase Burns and Hagen Smith right now. If he had focused solely on pitching and he's made the progress he's made this year, easily a top 10 pick probably.
Yeah, that's just it's cool to see, and I kind of wanted to say that just to be like where's he at in his development. Like the fact that we drafted him, it was like, all right, this guy's gonna be a project. Like it was a fast project. Like he's a pitcher. Like he's a pitcher now, and you could, you know, the rankings aren't going to tell you this right now, but you could 100% argue with somebody that he is the best right-handed pitching prospect in baseball. Like that is an argument that could be had with someone, and you could bring up very valid points.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with the progress he's he's cleaned up the delivery a lot, which I think has a lot to do with the control. The breaking ball is taking leaps forward. Like I said, the changeup. You don't see many 20, 21-year-olds with a changeup that he has. So yeah, it could be. I could be very easily swayed from like if you put me in like a neutral perspective, very easily swayed that he's the best right-handed pitching prospect in baseball right
now. To double down on Jim's point here, that's what gets me most excited about him. When he was drafted, he was going to be the project. Like, listen, there's all kinds of talent here, but I think we even said it like almost word for word. Like Pirate fans, for once, like be patient with this guy. He's going to take time. You're going to see struggles. You're going to allow it to happen. He needs to get there. Yeah. Have we really seen that? I mean, to understand what he was supposed to be, and because he was this two-way player and it's first time focusing on baseball and such, and here we are in 2024 now. What he's doing, like I want to put here, like, is there a window? Is there a real possibility that he could like make that Jared Jones move and potentially be? Of course, there's more things pushing back on him to do that, but potentially be like in this rotation on opening day next year. Like, does he have that?
If he continues, like I think I've mentioned, I know I definitely mentioned within the last couple of weeks when we've been talking about him, I don't ever remember seeing Jared Jones get to the level that Bubba Chandler is at right now in Double-A. And like Jared Jones, he was always like really good, but like there'd always be like a start here or there to where it kind of like keep him from like blowing up. And like I said, he was dealing with like some injury stuff when he was in Altoona too. So like maybe we didn't ever saw like the best of him and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think there's a reason if he keeps heading this direction that like he isn't like in the mix somewhat for a rotation spot next year. Like you said, it's probably harder for him next year because there are going to be so many more rotation spots like spoken for.
Right.
Like, like they'll have a Oviedo back next year, and like you got like 4 guys right now and stuff. So it'll be a lot tougher, and like he'll probably just end up in AAA and stuff like that. But like I could very much easily see him go to spring training next year and have a couple outings to where it's like, oh wow, like maybe we need to make a spot for him earlier than we expected.
That's exciting. So again, and you're talking about 3 years in the minors for this project.
Yeah.
Crazy. Cool.
All right, one more pitcher, Murphy. Who we got?
I was going to do someone different this time. Another guy out of Greensboro. Probably more of like a depth guy in the long run, but he's looked really solid as of late. Dominic Parachi, he was a later round draft pick in 2022. Pitched all year in Bradenton. Started this year in Greensboro. Has had a really good year in Greensboro. He's a little bit older for the level. He's 23 now. Spent a little bit of time in Double A this year when they had some injury issues. Started off rough there. His last start in Double A before he got sent back down to High A, it was 4 innings, a shutout with 4 Ks. Noah's a big Parachi guy.
Clearly.
But his last start went 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, only 2 hits and a walk. His last 3 games, he's allowed just 1 earned run in 17 innings. So I kind of mentioned on every Monday we do a 10 observations article on the site. Just kind of go through some stuff that we've kind of picked up and watched in the minors, and just watching Parachi, and like I'm not saying that he's like the next Barry Zito or something like that, but the way he pitches, like the delivery and like his approach, like pitching, he throws a lot of the elevated fastballs with like a big looping curveball to kind of tunnel off of that. Just reminds me a lot of him. I grew up like a really big Barry Zito fan. So like just 91, 92, I think he's got up into 93 a couple times with the fastball, but it plays really good up in the zone, especially with that big curveball that you have to kind of account for and stuff like that. Just, we talk about there's a lot of guys in the minors that you kind of feel like you want to see get pushed up just to kind of see how they handle the next level. And we've seen a little bit of how he's handled Double A. Like I said, it was a rough start at first, and he got a little bit better before he got sent back down. But I'd like to see him get another shot in Double A just to kind of see. Like I said, probably a depth guy, but like he's pitching really good right now that you kind of want to see if there's more there, especially like the Pirates factor now with some of the pitching prospects.
Yeah, 2022 11th round pick, lefties, 23 years old, 6'4", so big projectable frame out of him. Yeah, I don't know much about this guy, so 1.74 ERA right now in Greensboro. It looks like he starts half the time, the other half he's coming out of the bullpen, but he's pitching 3-4 innings apiece. But yeah, I mean, so
they've had to
far
do some weird stuff with their rotation just because they've had like 7 guys that they've wanted to kind of get multiple innings. So they've had guys like bounce in and out of starts and a lot of piggybacking and stuff like that. So
yeah, but yeah, he's been very good for like June. So
just want to point out too, he's pitched 51.2 innings, 29 hits.
Yeah.
Guys don't hit off him at all.
Oh, in High A, yeah. He's clearly dominating that High A level. Yeah, I think with Murphy here, where if you really want to see what this guy's got, you gotta probably push him to Double A.
Yeah, and I think I mean the Pirates, especially in the lower levels, they've had a bunch of injuries and stuff like that. As far as when it comes to pitching, like half of the Bradenton rotation's still out, and I think they've kind of extended the Mike Burrows and Aaron Shortridge rehabs a little bit longer in Bradenton just because they need the pitching right now. They probably don't make it through the entire week there without them rehabbing there. So harder a little bit to move some guys around because you don't really have something to replace them. But he's probably just because of his age and curiosity factor. You know, you talk about like Pirates able to, you know, do stuff with pitchers now. Maybe they found something there to do it, and he started to figure stuff out in Double-A before he got sent back down. So let's see what they can do.
And hey, he's a lefty. Lefties just kind of tend to hang around a little bit more because
Lefty.
they're lefties. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll save it for another day, but I'm interested why Barry Zito was one of your favorite guys.
He was a lefty.
Okay.
I'm a lefty.
There it is.
And he was really good. And you know, this was during the Pirates weren't very good in those days, so I needed something to watch late night after watching the Pirates get beat up.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, good stuff. As always, we appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate the Mitch Jeb talk.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
So we'll see you again next week. Of course, everyone check out Bucs On Deck. And of course, let everyone know where you can find him.
Bucs On Deck Substack. You can find me on Twitter at _Murphy88. We're gonna have a lot of draft stuff this week coming out with the draft coming up. So be on the lookout for that. I've been watching hours and hours of videos the last couple of days trying to get ready. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Big week
that.
for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Picking ninth is a lot different than picking first. So
It is.
You gotta watch a lot
in
more
this draft.
people.
Yeah, especially in this draft. This draft has been miserable trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, it seems realistically there's probably about 6 guys like that it could be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
should be interesting. We're only 6 days away from that.
Yep, looking forward to it. So
cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming on, Murph.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Your podcast comes out tomorrow too.
Yes,
we didn't mention that, so make sure Bucs On Deck podcast. If you enjoy podcasts, which I assume if you're watching or listening to this show, you probably do. So yeah, check that one out too. But yeah, that's it for today, isn't it? We cover everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get out of
All
here.
right. Let's go.
The Pirates play in 4.5 hours.
I know. This is so weird.
Yeah.
With the Mets again. So, all right. Well, let's get out of here. Appreciate you all for watching. We'll be back again in roughly 6 hours. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucs.